This example is going to be looking at graphing using Desmos again, but this time we're going to restrict the domain and range. So we're going to graph the following function on Desmos, restricting the window to go from -5 to 5 on the X and -10 to 10 on the Y. Then we'll go ahead and copy our graph. So we're going to go ahead and go into Desmos. You can go to Desmos by just typing in desmos.com/calculator. You can also get there just by going into a Google search and searching for Desmos, and it will come up. It's one of the Google searches. Now, if we go back, we can find out what equation we want to graph. We want to graph in the equation y equals x minus 1. So we'll go back into Desmos. We'll go over here to where we type in our equations. We'll do y1 equals x minus 1. And here's our graph, but we do want to restrict to that window. So if we come over here to the graph setting, looks like the little wrench. You can now change your x's to go from -5 to 5. And then our y's, we wanted to go from -10 to 10. Click on the wrench again, and that goes away. And there's your graph with the nice restrictions. We would like to go ahead and copy that. So we're going to go ahead and share the graph. You can either do a screen capture or we can just share it. We can do export the image. And we're going to go ahead and download that PNG file. And then we can come back over here to our Word file and we can upload that. So we'll go ahead and upload that into here. We're going to insert that. So go to insert, then a picture, and we're going to go graph our graph, Desmos graph. I have a bunch of these, so just get the right one. And there's our graph. You can make this smaller by just pulling on the corners of this to make it a little bit smaller. And there's your graph that you want to create. Now from the graph, we can get the domain and range. Notice the domain, and this is restricted because we restricted it down. It goes from -5 to 5. So we can now come down here to our domain and say it goes from, you can either use your interval notation and say -5 to 5. In interval notation, you can either use -5 is less than or equal to x is less than 5, which is what I typed in. I like the interval notation, so I'll use that. I have the closed brackets because I was including the endpoints in this case. My range, I have to look at my graph because I know I typed in -10 to 10, but I can see that this y's don't go down that far. So I can look at this and I can actually go ahead and let's see if I can draw that in there. Well, I'll just estimate it. I don't know how to draw this in here, but I come down here at x equals -5, come down till you hit the graph. You then come over and that looks like it starts at -6. So this is -6, it's the low end. So that's where my y's start. Again, it does look like it is that. So I'm going to use the closed bracket so that I know it includes it. And then my upper value, they come over here to 5 and come up to when it hits the graph, I come over and it's 4, looks like 4 right here. So I have 4 as my hyper y value. So this goes from -6 to 4. Again, I use the closed bracket because it is actually can be that value. If I want to look at not restricting it as I did before, I can indicate the domain and range. If you look at that, this graph will keep going in all directions. It will never end. So it just keeps going. And so it's going to be all real numbers. You can either type in all real numbers by just typing all real numbers. You can also use as a script R you can use. I can't draw that, but I can see if I can annotate this or annotate with a drawing and just scribble. And so this is actually the symbol we use for all real numbers. So you can also use that one. And the range is also all real numbers. So you can do either one. You can say it's all real numbers. You can do the range. And the reason I know that is, again, if you go up and look at the graph, you can see that it just keeps going in all directions. You can also use the interval notation. In this case, it's minus infinity to infinity because it's all real numbers. And I didn't include it, so I used the open parenthesis because I can't actually ever be infinity. So the range is also going to be negative infinity to infinity. And again, I can never get to infinity, so I have to use the parentheses instead of the brackets, instead of the bracket.